Well, hello there. My name is Renee, and I've lived a tragic, horrible story, and this is my story. Um, Today, I really don't have anything to post about how to do or, you know, uh, any tutorials or anything like that, but maybe the story will go well if I share it and it helps somebody. um, so, I've I moved from here. I transferred from my local place of employment here to San Antonio. I worked it. I loved it, and then I left my job. And within days, I met this guy who turned out to be what I wanted. You know, somebody good looking, black. Not that I was searching for black, but still, I have nothing against it. I loved him. I gave him my heart. We met through this app, a gay app, a dating app supposedly, but it's more for sexual rendezvous and shit like that. Anyways, we met and he came over. His dad dropped him off because he didn't have a vehicle. He doesn't have a current license, or yeah, he doesn't have a current license, or was suspended, or something like that. Well, anyways, he came over to my place where I was staying at, where I was renting, and we met, and it was fun. We hit it off. We were both looking for the same thing. And then, of course, he asked me out. I said yes. And we saw each other practically every day. I would go to his place, he would come to mine. Um, Sometimes he spend the night, I spend the night at his place with his parents. Of course, I didn't think it was appropriate to do whatever, right? But or at my place because I lived with a family that I love very much, and I considered them a family. So we um, we did hang out a lot, and after a while that we dated, I did tell my housemates that I was thinking about seriously. He asked me to marry him. I said I did want to. I did tell him I wanted to, but of course, I needed to test it all, see how long or see how well we did together, how our chemistry was, and it worked out. I was so in love. We had videos, and I might include those videos, but he was like a blessing. I was searching for this instead of just, you know, sex meetings, one night stands. I know. I mean, I'd done that before and I enjoyed it. I think I ran out of everybody. So when he found this one and fresh me maybe to the city, um, and I think he was the same. He said that when he got there, he downloaded the app. We downloaded the app at the same time, kinda. And he said that he downloaded it because he was told it was a gay app, and this is where you met people to date. So he was looking for something serious, and all he got was sexual offers, just like I did, and he would turn them down, just like I did. So we ended up together. Uh, I like the fact that he wasn't just out there looking for sex, which is great. I think. Which is strange for gay people because this app, that's all you get. That's all. And we wanted something more. We wanted friendship. We wanted togetherness and whatever, and we got that, and we hit it off. It was great. We were together for a while, and then I said, well, you know what, I'm tired of being here. I want to go back home because I was from out of town. I'm from Eagle Pass, and he's like, okay, cool. He came with me. He moved with me. Oh shit, I need to tear this curl. Well, he came with me, and so, anyways, he lived with me here at my place. We got here, we cleaned it up from whatever negative shit that I lived with somebody else or whatever. We got rid of those memories and we started making memories together. I was the perfect wife. I cooked, I cleaned, I did everything for him. He had everything. He worked with me. I did my independent contracting here, and which allowed him to spend time with me, and that's what he wanted. And he didn't want me to work, but we needed means to work, so um, he joined me going to work. We work mostly the evenings. Get home, and we lay on the couch together. Watch TV, a lot of quality time, and it was fun. It was. He kept telling me that I was beautiful. He kept telling me he loved me, and at first I was like, he's saying I love you a lot. Like, stop saying that like too much, because then it's gonna get to where it just becomes a habit of saying I love you. But I let him be, and then after a while, for the first time, we went out. We had fun. We went dancing. He did some shows. I mean, not a drag queen, but he danced, battle dance at the club, whatever, it's cool. I mean, he's black, that's what they do, don't they? So anyways, we had fun. We got home, maybe about 10 minutes after we got home, his parents arrived from San Antonio, right? And when they got here, the pretense was they came for him because supposedly his real mom, his biological mom, which was back in Kansas, she got shot, and she was in ICU, and she was in the hospital, and she was in a coma. So he's like, hey, help me get something ready so I could go. This is like unexpected, right? So I got it. We had just bought some clothes for him, and I was like, you know what, just take the new clothes. They're ready. We just put them in your bag and you go, right? So we did that, and then he's like, I'll call you as soon as everything goes well. I'm going to be gone for a day or 2 or 3 or whatever, right? So I think the second day, or no, third day, I think he called me. He's like, hey, I'm back in San Antonio from Kansas, Broken Arrow, Kansas. Or no, from Oklahoma, I think it was. Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, I think it was. So anyways, I'm not sure where that is, and whatever, right? So he's like, hey, I received the motorbike that we ordered, and it got here, and I'm going to write that back to you from San Antonio to Eagle Pass. And I was like, okay, cool, I'll meet you halfway, so you don't have to ride alone from there on, right? So I told him, he's like, hey, I'll meet you in Uvalde, which is halfway down. And he's like, cool, I'm going to write it down there, blah, blah, blah. I give him pointers how to, write, where to write, to be safe. So anyways, a friend of mine, well, not a friend of mine, but acquaintance said, hey, I'll go with you. And, when you get to Uvalde, we'll put his bike in your trunk. I know it's heavy, blah, 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 I'll help you, blah, blah, blah. Like, cool, and he's like, you won't have to go alone. You won't be alone on your trip over there. I was like, okay, cool, that's fine. I like that. I like friends that care about friends. And he's like, I'll help you, right? So we left to Uvalde to meet my fiance, Matt. And we get there where we're going to meet him, and I call him like 2 or 3 times. I texted him and nothing, right? His phone was off. And I was like, I remember he said on his way over here riding his bike down to Uvalde, he was not going to be able to answer the phone, So, of course, no accident happened. So it was like, okay, I understood. Okay, maybe that's why he didn't answer. So we stopped at a gas station, Stripes, and I fed my friend. I bought him some stuff to eat, to drink, because I was appreciative of the help, right? And before that, he stayed the night here because he came to visit his baby mom in town, and he was sleeping over at the baseball park, and it was cold, and it was raining or sleeting or something like that. And I said, hey, I have a couch, you can sleep in the couch, and whatever. I wanted to be helpful. So he stayed over, and the next day is when we went to San Antonio, or we went to Uvalde to pick him up. So we did, we went to Uvalde, he was in there, and then he's like, well, if he's riding the bike, it's going to take forever to get here, the motorbike, right? I was like, you know what? Let's just wait till he calls, right? Nothing. So I started driving more further to San Antonio to see if I saw him on the road or whatever. And it's getting dark, and I was like, I know he doesn't have headlights in the bike. At least that's the last thing I know. And then he calls. He's like, hey, you know, my gas tank fell off or something while going over there. So my dad came to help, who's in San Antonio, right? And I was like, you know what? Don't. He's like, you know, I'll take. I mean, I'm gonna put it back, tighten up, and go over there. I was like, no, no, you know, it's getting dark, so just go home, and I'll go pick you up at home. I'll drive all the way to San Antonio and go to your house and pick you up in Live Oak. So I did. Fabian Perez, Red, aka Red, right? He said, "Yeah, let's go. Let's go. I'll go with you over there, and you know, we'll get him and whatever, right?" So we went to his house. We got there like an hour or so, like later. We got to his house. I called him. I was like, "Hey, I'm out here." He came out. We got in the car. We're driving back, and I totally didn't fill up. I mean, I didn't refilled or refueled. And we were downtown San Antonio. I was like, "Hey, you know what? I don't think we're gonna make it. I mean, I don't want to take the risk of going to Eagle Pass and I run out of gas, right?" So we stopped at a friend's house in the downtown area, and I was gonna ask her if she had like $5 or $10 I could borrow for gas, right? So we got down. I asked her. She didn't. I was like, you know what? I know we'll make it, you know, but I just don't want to risk it and not, you know, I mean, get stuck or stranded, you know, in the middle of nowhere. So, anyways, we went back to the car. The car was gone. It was towed. It was towed because it was after 9 p.m. and we were parked inside some apartment complex. And supposedly they have a rule or they have a contract with this towing company that after 9 o'clock, if whoever's parked in here without a permit of residency or whatever, they're towing cars or whatever, right? So they told mine because mine didn't have a permit. We called the place. We thought it was stolen at first, but then, you know, it was like, wait, let's call a towing company. So we called the towing company, and yeah, the car was towed. So I was like, okay, cool. You know, how much is it? Oh, it's like $220 to get out. I was like, okay, cool. You know, we'll see what we can do tomorrow. So the next day, we're making plans. Is like, okay, he's like, well, you know what? I'll fix a bike. We'll pawn the bike, get the money to get the car, and then we'll go back home, and then we'll try to make the money working together and see if we can, you know, get the money to get the bike out. Which is, I was okay. I mean, he did some sacrifices for me, and I was gonna do sacrifices for him too. So we're like, okay, cool. We were at my friend's house at apartment, and we're waiting for, I think, his dad. He called his dad to pick us up or something, right? And he's like, hey, you know, I need a cigarette. We're out. Let me go find one. So he went out. He came back after a little bit with a cigarette for us to share. All three of us, me, Brett, and him. And we smoked, blah, 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 blah. We spent some quality time together. And then next thing you know, it's like, he's like, hey, I need another cigarette. I'm going to go look for a cigarette. I'm like, okay, cool. You know, he went out to look for a cigarette. His dad calls as soon as he's like 10 minutes after he stepped out. And he's like, hey, where's Matt? I was like, oh, you know, he's out looking for a cigarette. Okay, well, tell him I'm here. I was like, okay, yeah, as soon as he comes back, I'll tell him that you're here, right? So we waited for Matt. He didn't come back, right? He didn't come back, and we were getting worried, like, where is he? Why is he not back? You know, okay, it's been 1 hour, it's been 2 hours, it's been 3 hours, it's been 4 or 5 hours, nothing. And then Red was like, hey, you know, it's getting late, Matt hasn't called. I was like, well, yeah, you know, whatever, right? So I was so worried, and then I don't know why I went to Snap, and I accidentally activated the map on Snapchat, and I saw his Bitmoji back in Live Oak, and I was like, oh, you know, thank God, he's with his parents. You know, I guess he did get his dad. You know, he found his dad out in the apartment, and he left with his dad, and you know, whatever, right? So I texted him. I was like, hey, you know, I'm glad you're okay. And then he texted me back, and he said, you know, I don't know why you did this. I don't know what, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's like, what's going on? And he's like, well, your friend, Brett, like, told me that you cheated on me, you know, when blah, blah, blah. I was like, how you're being gone for a day. What? I don't have time to go cheat. Like, I'm worried about you, and I'm not cheating on you, like, whatever, right? So we argued about it. And then after a while, you know, he kind of got the idea that's like, no, there's no possible way this could happen, right? So he came back. and right by then was gone. He came back to Eagle Pass. He asked me before he left. He asked me to if I. He said if I wanted to go back, that he would pay my trip to come back, right? And I was like, no, I can't leave without Matt. You mean? I was like, I can't leave without Matt, or I can't leave without my car. I'm gonna wait for Matt. And so he left. And I was okay with it. My friend that gave him a ride to the bus gave me a ride to Matt's house. I talked to Matt, and Matt was telling me everything that happened supposedly, which was that the guy had told him that I cheated and I don't know what. And like, dude, I just know he was my customer at work. I don't know him. How, when, I, I don't know them long to say, hey, yeah, this is what I did. This is what I did when, blah, blah, blah. No. Who does that? So anyways, Matt took me to his house, to his parents' house. We were there for like 3 days or so. And on February 3rd, in the morning we got up. We went outside to smoke a cigarette. He went back in. I was still outside because I smoke slow. So, still smoking outside. And then the dad comes out and he gives me my keys, my glasses, and my keys. And he says, Renee, I'm sorry. I hate to do this to you, but you're going to have to... Do you have somewhere to go? Because we're going to be out of the house. We don't like nobody in the house when we're not here. We don't even like, the son to stay here. It's like Matt's brother. I was like, yeah, I have a place to go. I have my best friend lives like really close, 3 miles away. I'll go there. And I was like, I'll walk over there, right? Fuck it, So I walked over there. And Matt, I was waiting for Matt before I left. I was waiting for Matt, to come out. So I was like, hey, I'm going to go to, so-and-so's house, right? And Matt came out. He ignored me. He went straight to the van, and I saw him look at me sad. He was so sad. He was looking at me through the window like I don't know. It's just like, what's wrong? Why didn't you come say or kiss me or say goodbye or something? Is it because the parents are here or what? What's going on? So anyways, I was like, no, it's okay, cool. I walked to my friend's house, 3 miles. It made it in an hour, I think. Got there, and I was waiting out there smoking with her. And I was telling her, I was like, this happened, and Matt looked sad. Like, I don't know what's wrong, blah, blah, blah. And then my friend's husband got home. He went inside. She went after him to talk to him or whatever, right? And then she comes back out, and she's like, Renee, what did you do? I was like, what do you mean? It's like, Matt, he's all mad. I was like, what? What's going on? She's like, well, supposedly you cheated. I cheated at his place? What? I was like, well, yeah, supposedly he said that the mom caught you cheating or talking to another man on Twitter, I believe. I was like, that doesn't sound right. I mean, it's like we were together since we woke up and went outside to smoke together. When did she catch me cheating? I don't get it. So, ever since then, on February 3rd, I haven't heard nothing from him. It's now February 20-something. It's almost over. February's almost over. I haven't talked to him in 3 days. We were supposed to get married on February 14. And I haven't heard from him. He blocked my calls. He blocked my friends' calls. So nobody could get a hold of him. And I didn't want to walk all the way back for him to be mean or anything like that. So I just waited for him. And my friends were like, you're waiting in vain and he's not coming. And, it's like, he's mad at you. And, the thing he would call her husband, like, hey, can I still come over because I need to talk to you? Renee cheated on me. Renee used me for money. What money? What money? We worked together. We made money together. Whatever money he was getting from SSI or whatever, I didn't get access to that. That was the parents. The parents are keeping the money, and I had no problem with that. Whatever, right? But why accuse me of taking his money, using for his money? What money? There's no money involved. It was our money, the one that we were making. So anyways, I was going through a devastation time because if he wanted to break up or whatever, which he told my friend that, he'd been trying to break up with me. That's why he left the first time. and I'm following him. And I was like, how, dude? You're the one that called me and said, hey, come pick you up. I'm over here. That's the only reason I ended up over there. And I ended up stranded, without money, without nothing, without clothes on my back. Well, only the clothes I was wearing, but nothing. I had no car. I had no husband, no fiance, no money, no food, no nothing. Dude, it broke my heart. It really broke my heart, because I have no idea what happened. And I talked to his biological mom, and she never got shot. She was never in the hospital. She never got shot. And she's like, no. It's like, the only reason he would probably do this is because he probably returned to meth and he didn't want you to find out. He relapsed. He did drugs. He went back to drugs, and now he's lying. And when you do meth, I guess symptoms is that you lose interest in relationships. You lose interest in the most important things. And I think that's what happened. Because I can't explain it. I mean, I can't explain how much he loved me, how much he showed he loved me, how he did so many things for me, and overnight it was just gone. And all these lies that he was making up, I was like, what? Dude, it's impossible. We're together. How the fuck do you want me to do this? How do you want me to cheat? If you want me to cheat, I'll cheat. If you want to leave me, just tell me I'll leave. And I didn't even get that. I didn't even get, he didn't even tell me that I cheated. He told somebody else, for that somebody else to tell me, and that he'd been wanting to leave me and all this shit. And he's the one that's asking for me. I don't get it. I don't get it. It broke my heart, especially being stranded on our day of our wedding, when it was supposed to be a wedding, and he didn't even call to say, hey, whatever. I texted him, even though I'm sure my number's blocked, because when they call it goes straight to voicemail and it's full, so I can't leave a message. I downloaded apps to change numbers, and I would call him with that, and the phone would ring and ring and ring, 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 ring. So I knew that my number was blocked, because when I called my number, from my number, it would go straight to voicemail. When I would call him from that, it would just ring forever. Until I would get the voicemail, and so he broke my heart. And I was destroyed. I was destroyed because it was a long time, no closure, no nothing. And that's all I want. That's all I wanted. Just closure. At least tell me what's wrong, so I could try to fix it. If I can't fix it, I know not to do this. Whatever it is that bothered you so bad, I won't do it on my next relationship. So, and yes, my glasses are broken. One of the things fell off. And now they're crooked. There we go. So, I don't know. I'm single now, without a husband, without a car. And I think the day that he left me is when I filed for my income tax. And supposedly I was getting a Wednesday of a week later. And I've been following the thing. I still haven't gotten paid. I know for a while it said like no taxes are going out till either after mid-February or toward the end, right? So anyways, on the 15th of February, I checked again, and it said, we received your filing, and it's in processing. It's been saying that since the 14th. Right now, like I said, it's, let me see if I can see the date.